Hi guys, it's Elisa at Moat Cottage Homesteading. In today's video I thought I would answer some frequently asked questions about Muscovy ducks. I have many videos on Muscovy ducks to teach you all about the different things that they do and how to look after them and all of that sort of stuff. So if you want to see more about Muscovy ducks, then you can check out that playlist. I'll leave the link at the end of this video. And today I'm cleaning out my Muscovy duck sleep area. Most of my Muscovy ducks sleep in this area at night, and a couple of my chickens as well. Although not all, some sleep in another section, and it's up to them where they sleep, which one they sleep in. I get asked a lot why I chose Muscovy ducks over other breeds. Well, originally it was by accident, but I'm glad it worked out that way because Muscovy ducks are super quiet, and I live in a small town, so I have neighbours, and they are so quiet that my neighbours don't really even know that they're there. They're also a very fast growing bird, and they have very lean meat, and they're a large bird, so they're excellent as meat birds. And I do use the males that we breed are food. They also have beautiful, gentle natures, but I think I would like any breed of duck. If I had ducks, I've had geese before, I would love them all anyway. But Muscovy ducks definitely have a special place in my heart. The next question is, do you have to trim their wings? And the answer is no. You don't have to trim their wing. If I lived on 1,000 acres still like I did before, I would not trim their wings. I wouldn't need to because it would be good for them to get away from a fox because they would be free ranging, and then I would lock them up at night. So they would need to be able to fly a little bit for protection. Whereas here, where I live now, they're safe in the yard. It's a contained yard. If their wing is trimmed on one side only, I have videos about that, then they are safe. If they were to just fly over that fence, they're not safe anymore. There are dogs, there are cats, there are foxes. They are not safe. So I do it for their safety. It's up to you what you do. In Australia, where I live, the Muscovy ducks are so fat and healthy. They don't fly like cockatoos or normal birds. They fly like chickens, a little bit of a flap, and they can get over a fence, but they're not flying across the country. It's not like that. Maybe where you live, they fly a lot better, because I've seen on YouTube some of the Muscovy ducks in other countries actually fly quite a good distance. That's not the case with my Muscovy ducks. So every situation is different, and I've taught you the way to trim their wings safely so you're not going to hurt the bird, and you need to choose what is best for the safety and the happiness and health of your bird. That's what's most important. The ideal age for butchering a Muscovy duck is 14 to 16 weeks. The next question is, can they fly when they're growing their wing feathers out and they still have blood feathers? So in between when they're molting. So this girl is growing her feathers out at the moment. They're starting to grow through. So they're not ready to trim yet because they're full of blood. She technically could fly. This girl, hers are fully grown out now. They're due to be done. So she can fly over the fence, and I haven't trimmed her wings yet. There's a few that I need to do. And in my experience, they don't generally tend to fly over the fence when they first grow their wing feathers back because they've forgotten that they can actually fly. They don't realise that they can actually fly now that they've got both wings fully grown out again. So you've got a little bit of leeway. But technically, yes, if they suddenly realised they could fly, they would probably be able to get over the fence with no problems. So I do need to do that job. What food do I feed my Muscovy ducks? I have a whole video on that, but that is probably my most asked question when it comes to Muscovy ducks. So check out that video if you want to know. Can Muscovy ducks get in and out of a kiddie pool? Well, it depends on the size of your kiddie pool and how high the sides are. It also depends on the size of the Muscovy ducks. I use these green kiddie pools for my Muscovy ducks, and they can get in and out quite easily. However, when I have smaller Muscovy ducks, so when I have ducklings, I use the small black containers, and I usually put rocks in the bottom so that they're stable rocks, they're not moving around, and the duck can step up onto a rock and then get out if it needs a bit of extra help. And when they're tiny, tiny ducklings, I have an even smaller container. How can I stop my Muscovy ducks from being scared of me? Well, as you can see with my Muscovy ducks, they are fairly quiet and shy birds. I spend a lot of time with them. I walk around them all the time, so they are used to me. When I'm in a hurry, so if I'm walking through the coop area, which is the garden area, and I'm busy doing a job or something and I'm on a mission, they can get in my way, but I make sure I always have a calm energy and I'm not shooing them out of the way and I'm not rushing past them. I always walk slowly around them and I let them know that I'm there if they don't see me. I do have a duck that has one eye, so I always let her know when I'm coming because she would get a bit upset if I surprise her. So I always talk to her as I'm walking up to her so she knows I'm there. And most of the other ducks, they obviously see me coming. So I have a calm energy in the coop area and I don't rush past them because I'm in a hurry doing something else. It's always about the birds, and if you spend a lot of time with them, they will get used to you. The next one isn't actually a question, but I do have a response to a comment that I've had a few times in my comments, and it's where a viewer is telling us that they've crossed a Muscovy duck with another breed, and that might be a Peking or a mallard or some other type of duck breed that they've crossed their Muscovy ducks with, and they're so excited. They've got this wonderful hybrid and they love them, and that is wonderful if that's what you want. But what you need to be aware of is that those ducks will not be fertile, so that's not sustainable. You will not be able to have babies from those hybrid birds. So if you're buying birds that are hybrids, you need to be aware that they're not going to be fertile. When I say hybrid, I'm talking about a Muscovy duck crossed with another breed, because Muscovy ducks aren't actually genetically ducks. They're not related to the mallard, which all the other breeds of ducks are. So you can crossbreed the other breeds of ducks that aren't Muscovy ducks, and that's fine. They will be fine. But if you're crossing a Muscovy duck in there with any other breed, it's not going to work out. You'll get babies, but you're not going to have fertile babies. How many ducks should I get per square feet? Or how many ducks should I get per acre? Now, there are so many variables when it comes to land as to how many ducks you should be able to have on that land. There is no straightforward answer with this because land is not equal. You could have an acre of land that is flat, nothing on it. No grass, no bugs, nothing. Just like a desert. It doesn't even have to be sandy. It can just be dead earth. There's nothing for the ducks to eat. So you could have an acre and 70% of their diet needs to be what they're foraging, the grasses, the plants, the bugs, the life that's on that land. And if you have none, that acre doesn't mean anything. Or you can have a smaller area and you can have it full of grasses and plants and bugs and life, and it's alive, and there's plenty of shade for the birds in the hot summers and shelter, and all of those things need to be taken into account. So it's not a straightforward answer in a comment. It's variable depending on the type of land and the amount of water you've got, the type of housing and security. All of those things you need to take into account, and also the effort you want to put in if you are cleaning the water yourself, if you've got a big dam on the property, or how you're watering them, and all the different things that need to be taken into account. So it's not a straightforward answer, and you also have to take into account your local laws and what you're allowed to have. You don't want to overcrowd your birds, because if you have too many birds, overcrowding creates issues where birds get picked on, where birds' health is affected, and disease and illness can spread. And you don't want that. You don't want to be feeding your birds antibiotics just to keep them alive so you can have more birds. It's not a good solution. why do I put apple cider vinegar in my ducks' water? Now this is their drinking water, and I sometimes put it in their pool water too. Now the reason I do this, and I don't do it all the time, the reason I do this is because it helps maintain the acidity in the crop of the bird, and it improves vitamin and mineral absorption. It also helps to kill bacteria. Now this really helps if you've got a bird that's not feeling well. So if it looks a little bit off colour, which can be hard to tell unless you're really hanging out with your flock all the time, because you may not notice if a bird is not well. Ducks are really good at hiding illness. I also give it to them every couple of months for a few days in a row, just so that it gets them into balance. I want my ducks to be balanced and nice and healthy. So I do this every couple of months. And if I introduce a new bird, like when I introduced my drake, Mr. Smoky Grayson, he got some as well, just to make sure he was 100% before he went in with the rest of the flock. A couple of other things you need to know if you're going to be using the apple cider vinegar in the duck's water or chicken water is that you don't want to give it to them if you're feeding them antibiotics, because it will make the antibiotics ineffective. And also don't put it in metal containers. Stainless steel is fine, plastic is great, but not other metals, because it's an acid and you're adding that to a metal container, which means it can leach the metals out of the metal and put it into the water, and the birds can get heavy metal toxicity and it can poison them. In my video choosing a Muscovy drake for your flock, I talked about things you need to look out for when you're buying a new drake or getting a new bird and adding it to the rest of the flock. And I talked about choosing a drake or a duck that doesn't have a smeary behind. And the question was, what does a smeary behind mean? And that really is just a poopy bum. If they've got feathers that have got poop all around them, that means they could have diarrhea or they could have other underlying health issues. And when you're choosing a new duck or a drake for your flock, you don't want one that's got health issues. So you want to start off at least with a duck or a drake that has a clean bum. If you do have a duck in your flock already that has a poopy bum all the time, you can start it on the apple cider vinegar in their water, or if you've tried that and it doesn't work, or your bird looks like it's got flat feathers, they're not shiny at all and they're not waterproof, then get it checked out by a vet. There are a lot of illnesses that waterfowl can get. I don't even know all of them, because there's different illnesses in different parts of the world that the ducks can get. And it's important to get onto anything straight away as soon as you can, so that it doesn't spread to the rest of the birds, because you could actually lose your whole flock if something came through it. So it's important to remember, spend time with your flock and enjoy their company and really get to know them. It's not just so that they get used to you, it's so you can see all the differences in their personalities and the way they behave normally, so that if they are a little bit off colour, you will be able to tell. You will know their personality and think, hey, they're just sitting around a bit much today, they haven't done much, and you will know. I know some of you are here because you spend time with wild Muscovy ducks. So you don't actually have Muscovy ducks yourself in your backyard, but you do spend time with wild Muscovy ducks and you care for them by watching them and spending time with them. And I'd just like to say thank you for caring for all the Muscovy ducks around the world. And if you want to feed the Muscovy ducks in the wild, remember they like greens like rockets, silver beets, spinach, lettuce, but don't feed them bread. They're settling in for the night and they should be nice and warm and cozy on this cold late autumn night. Check out my other videos so you can learn more about Muscovy ducks in more detail on particular topics. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.